Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's Fake Accents Unite. I am joined, as always, by the ever-present Britisher. How are you this evening, sir?
Good evening. And isn't it wonderful when you can start a live stream without someone shouting right across you?
It's wonderful, right?
Why did the two English pricks get to go first? What's that all about?
Because it's our stream and we run
it.
And because we're English.
No courtesy towards your guests.
Speaking of guests, the loud, obnoxious Scot is Nuckalevee. Good evening, sir.
Yep.
And we're also joined by pretty much now series regular Tailed Feature. Good evening.
Fesker Ma.
It being the less loud, obnoxious Scot.
Yeah,
just obnoxious.
Moving on, yes.
Tailed Feature's obviously the most respectful. It's the reason I invited him back and not Dankula.
We wouldn't want the riff-raff on.
Dankula's great. I think the best Q&A I ever did was when I get Dankula on.
Dankula's great. You can't get a word in edgeways.
I can. Like, me and him had fucking amazing bants. It was fucking excellent. Best.
I mean, I've still not got a reaction out of Dankula from his appearance in the Oppression Olympics.
Oh, did he turn up there? I couldn't get through
he's
that.
more than likely too ashamed.
No, he's probably still recovering from his birthday. I was there.
Oh, God. That seemed messy. All I remember is him tweeting the next day that he was somewhat near death. Or on the other side of it.
Fucking pussy. Man, like, what's it called? Fucking, my birthday was on the 20th, and fucking, like, oh, God, I had a fucking mountain of alcohol there. I bought the cheapest bottle of champagne I could get. Fucking down that shit. Downed fucking about 20 bottles of fucking Budweiser and fucking all kinds of other shit. It was a great night.
No Buckfast?
No, I don't drink Bucky. Rat piss.
Far more refined gentleman.
No, fucking, like, right now I'm drinking Innocent Gun, just literally because it's cheap.
I'm eating a pot noodle and drinking a cup of tea, so there we go.
Brewed in Glasgow.
Like pot noodle and tea. It's like how do you mix working and class together? That's exactly how.
That is her.
Oh dear.
I don't know. I, for some reason, I just get the image of like making a pot noodle with like boiling vodka or some shit.
Now there's an idea.
A Scot noodle.
Scot noodle.
But you'd have to flambe it, wouldn't you? You'd have to set it alight once you've poured the alcohol in.
Man, it's so gay that the second season of Castlevania, like the Netflix series, comes out the day that fucking Dankula's fine fucking shit is up. I'm going to be sad watching it because I'm going to be thinking the whole time, I wonder if the police have got him yet.
Yeah, when's that come out?
And the 26th.
Oh God, it's close. I love that.
I mean, that's the day his fine thing ends, and that's when they'll come collect him, won't it?
It's kind of brutal. Yeah. I was tinged that day with. I'm like happy because I've just found out that series is going on, and I'm also sad because I've just found out he's going away. Good.
8 episodes this time. Fucking maybe if he's quick, he might be able to watch them all before they cut him off.
Just be like, come on, like, just give me 40 minutes, right, please. Like,
Oh God.
Oh dear. So we've had some fun to see today. Theresa May has obviously got her mind in the right place on Brexit, as you can see here. Telling everyone to be careful about what language you use. Given that
there is a word for that. It's called deflection.
Yes. Or that she was told, a PM was told to bring her own noose to a meeting with her own backbenchers.
Or someone referred to as stabbing her in the front.
Or something, yes, something along the lines.
Obviously, is just a play on words as opposed to stabbing her in the back.
Yes.
And immediately they start saying, oh, well, in the light of Joe Cox having been murdered, this is terribly irresponsible language and so on. And you just go, no, I'm sorry, this is just deflection.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in their right mind in politics gets upset about this.
No, you don't get where you are without having somewhat of a thick hide anyway.
Yes,
but
given that the game itself basically involves them stabbing people in the back, left, right, and center. Don't tell me that they're all so genteel that they can't handle that kind of language.
Indeed.
What is just remarkable is that they've learned how to play the media in this kind of post Me Too era, if you know what I mean. So they know that if they give them this snippet, the media will immediately run with it, which they have done across the board.
Mm.
By the way, sorry to interrupt. Somebody just said that in the chat there, and it's very important. I know the bring your own news stuff's all very good and all that, but that's a good point. See, to pay the fine, could they just go to Dankula's house and repossess his shit or something?
No, they can seize the money from his account. That's probably what they'll do.
Mm.
Oh, Jesus! Is that? That's a bit that's anticlimactic and fucking makes sense. It doesn't mean he's a martyr. He lost 800 quid against his will to the dirty bastards.
Yeah, that's probably what they're going to do for that very reason.
They'll just steal it so that he doesn't get, made into that.
That's good. I want my drink.
800 smackaroonies.
He's clearly hurting for money in the wake of his YouTube channel growth.
And the fact that he's now monetized.
Is he actually? They monetized him.
Yep. That's why he's been putting 20 ads on every fucking video.
I don't know. I use ad block typically. So,
excuse me, monetization. What's that?
It's that thing that eludes you, Britisher.
For people who don't know, Britisher has been trying to get monetized for something. How many months is it now?
Oh, I mean, I must be YouTube's most dangerous contributor.
Yes.
I mean, if people want to really see the edgy stuff, they better come to me. Because, Count Dankula, he's the one with the check mark and monetization. Whereas, if you want to see the person who would never, ever get anywhere near a check mark or monetization, well, then you have to come to the real edgelord that is the Britisher.
Britisher. Making film reviews that are 40 years out of date. Yes.
Wait. Do you mean you're not eligible for monetization?
Well, I think that's what they're trying to kind of imply, because I have applied for it, and they're just basically keeping me in permanent status of review.
It's because you're.
I've got monetization.
It's because he's the physical representation of colonialization. Yeah, of colonialism.
Yeah, if you didn't have that pith helmet, you'd be fine.
Yeah. It's all about the flashman and the pith helmet.
I mean, if I'm just looking at it right now here, my status in YouTube, and it just says application submitted and in review.
Furiously refreshing.
Somewhere around July, they actually reviewed it and decided that they couldn't decide and that they would have to re-review it.
They didn't know what your channel was about.
Yes, I had about 200 clips, but they couldn't quite work out whether I would be suitable for monetization.
It's defo that helmet. It looks like a big white cock helmet.
I reckon
it's really threatening. There's a lot of women out there that would be worried about a big white cock head.
It's an implicit rape threat, isn't it?
Yeah.
I worry that your voice, Britisher, being as buttery as it is, they just sort of they got absorbed by it, and so they come out the other side of a video and they're sort of in a daze, going, I don't really know what it was about. I enjoyed it, but I don't know.
I must go and listen to them all again.
Yes,
to make a decision.
What you don't realize is that every
Shinobi, I believe, has exactly the same problem.
Yes. What you don't realize is that every single viewer who comes to your channel, every reviewer who comes to your channel who has to watch, so much of your content in one go, ends up caught in an endless cycle. There's actually 10 people in intensive care with their eyes glued to Britisher videos going round and round and round at the moment.
Didn't you host This Week in Stupid once?
Yes. I about 3 weeks ago or so I did This Week in Stupid. Yes.
Snuck in, you sneaky Watson.
I do. I also recall you did a video about universities or something like that.
Yes, I did. Yes.
It was quite controversial. I remember not agreeing with that one, whatever it was.
About a year ago or so, yes, I made a video on Sargons. Yes, that proved quite fruitful for my particular channel. Yes.
Wasn't it really controversial? Wasn't it something like women should fuck off at universities or something retarded like that?
Well, it wasn't basically saying women should, disappear. It was basically saying we by now seem to be heading towards a kind of 2/3 majority of female to male. Whereas at the same time, our economists are basically saying that we're becoming less inventive as a society. and to a certain extent, our economies are driven by our inventiveness. And I just basically said, well, perhaps we should just face facts, and that is that the inventiveness is going to come from the male side that is in engineering. So perhaps that ought to be our focus overall.
Again, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but
it's equally.
You can't argue that there's no inventiveness because Fortnite came out after that video. So.
Well, I am facing an equal problem, and that is that, yes, not only did you hear it a long time ago, I also recorded it a long time ago.
No, that was weird. Look, I just remember it being, listening to it, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is he saying with this?
Well, I mean, this will no doubt depress a certain gentleman who is present here a great deal, because I think he is quite chuffed at having got a little more out of being on This Week in Stupid than I did. But back then, when I put up that, as you call it, controversial video, I got about 7,500 subscribers out of it.
Oh, nice. I'm struggling to hit 3 fucking K, but then again, my computer's been fucked for like a year.
So if we don't hear from Not So Obvious for the rest of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, you now know why.
No, I'm not salty yet. I haven't released my controversial video telling women that they're not good enough to invent things.
I do recall one of the last few times I spoke to you of you basically saying that cunt basically get This Week in Stupid, and I didn't. Why did he get it? The fucking English bastard. I'm an English bastard too, god damn it. Might have been on the birthday.
I've been on the birthday stream.
No, my fridge is still broken. I'm using the broken half of my chair. I'm using it to hold up the broken half.
Well, by the way, was that just a reference to Dankula's birthday stream?
No, I think.
What birthday stream?
Your birthday stream.
Oh, your birthday stream.
Yeah, like because fucking us Scotsmen are born around about the same time. There's just the mating season in fucking Scotland.
No, I just, I thought you might be referring to that particular birthday stream, because when I saw that stream long after it had actually been streamed, I for a moment time stood still because Boogie2988 turned up.
Did he die?
Yeah. Managed to do that, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and I just, I couldn't quite believe my eyes at that particular point.
What, Boogie turned up in Dankula's birthday stream?
Yes.
No, but that fucking Boogie was on with the fucking, the wank sports cunts. I don't know. I'm in the same boat as Louis Levi. I don't think much of it.
Feature, can you translate that for us? Because I'm a bit lost right now.
I don't know, I don't speak Ouija.
Oh, fuck you.
Something about, kill stream or something.
No, basically, Boogie, when Boogie fucking turns up, he turned up in Bloodsports and then he turns up in Dankula and stuff like that. I just don't like that middle of the road pish. It's the same opinion I have with Louis Levi summed him up perfectly. It was a pain in the arse.
Mm.
I just hate wishy-washy middle of the road crap. It's just.
I'm middle of the road crap. That's my wheelhouse.
No. Well, I mean, in the spineless way he was, fucking with the Anita Sarkeesian thing, he said something and he never stuck up for it when fucking Anita's yelling in his face, and it's like, mate, you could fall on her. Don't take that pish fail. You could fall on her and fucking instantly take her out. You don't need to be afraid of fucking anybody. You fucking man mountain. Jesus Christ. Just grow a spine, man. I hate fucking that shit. If you don't stand for your fucking principles and you just let people walk all over you, man, it just does my head in.
Sarah is very much enjoying the word pish. So I'm going to keep saying pish.
She has a thing for the Scots, I think, in a kind of
pitying way.
Well, I don't even know about pitying. It's like she's going.
It's a well-known Scottish speech impediment.
No, but just to clarify,
Sean Connery being the example.
Sean Connery, fucking a book fell on my head. I can only blame myself.
Myself.
Because Sean Connery would do anything for Scotland except live here.
Except live there.
see if fucking Anita Sarkeesian was giving it Sean Connery any pish, he would have fucking sorted her out a little, to quote the man. He takes no shit for anybody. Sean Connery knows his shit. But again, like somebody's saying, fucking centrists get the bullet too. But you know what I mean? I'm talking about like people that are just spineless. It's like, try and be nice to everybody. You know, don't get any fights. Everybody try and be lovely and tolerant and stuff like that. No, there's dicks in the world, and sometimes you need to fucking go, no, you're being a dick, cut it out. You need to stand up for yourself and be a fucking adult and a man. Jesus Christ, you can't just be Mr. fucking Butter.
Breathe, Nuka. Breathe. The Harry Channel says Scotland is England's Canada. I think that's fairly accurate.
So what, Scotland is England's hat, is what you're saying.
So basically, that would make Nicola Sturgeon Britain's Justin Trudeau.
That would make that would make Nicola Sturgeon England's power top.
Power top.
It would make in inverted logic. It would then make Theresa May Scotland's equivalent of Donald Trump to Canada.
Ooh.
Not quite. It's not really holding up anymore. Is
Well,
it?
Scotland is England's debt. Someone just said. True story.
Well, I'm waiting for.
Or is Scotland the Englishman's burden?
Well,
I think Theresa May.
There should be another referendum on independence, and England gets to vote whether or not we get kicked out.
So, somebody said something that fucking triggered me in the chat, and fucking I don't want to keep going on about the boogie thing. Like, a lot of people just think I'm pissed off all the time. It's just I can rant about anything for ages and I can instantly fucking leave it. But
That's just being Scottish, isn't it? Sounding like you're angry all the time.
Rant about.
Going for it. No, I'm going for it, and then that's it. That's the last thing that we're getting. Like, people are saying, "Oh, he's got a condition and it shouldn't help them." Then he shouldn't be telling people how to live their lives and give them advice when if he's got a condition that makes him a shite bag. Like, that's not what you do. You fucking. I don't get running advice for a guy in a wheelchair. Like, fucking, just fuck off. All right,
Go on a rant about how cute goats are. That's what I was saying.
Fucking what? Inshallah, what you on about? Why would I be on about the goats?
You said you could rant about anything, and I was just like, okay, where can we take this?
You know, goats are kind of cute. Like the wee ones going like fucking meh, like fucking no, it's all right. They've got the kind of weird. Like they've got goats. Have got weird eyes. You ever looked at a goat's eyes? Like what's with their pupils? No. Like goats, like fucking, and like their eyes, they ain't cute. You know how they've got those weird, like sort of like plus.
They've
got hypnotoad eyes, don't they?
You think about sheep?
No, sheep don't have like goats have it way worse than sheep do. You know, like you can't look at a sheep's eyes. You're too busy looking at that sexy body. You know, that's what it's like with the sheep.
Are you sure you haven't got any Welsh in your lineage?
Aberdonian.
You beat me to it. I was about to say, like, for all of you remember, it's the Welsh that shag sheep. Scottish people fuck cows.
Fucking moo. That's my phrase. Fucking moo. So.
Goats have eyes like an octopus. There you go. They actually do. Like, octopus and goats have the same eyes. What's the connection?
I don't know. I have no idea of this.
How does that work? Why do hinds that live at the bottom of the sea have the same hinds as hinds that fanny about in the fields and eat the grass?
I have no idea. And
English science, explain it.
I'm going to apologise to the chat for even bringing this conversation up.
It is your fault. That's what it is.
It is my fault.
I told you I can rant about fucking innit.
It's fair enough.
Goats have horizontal pupils. Why?
For reasons
Hypnotoad.
unknown.
It'll be something to do about seeing, the Muslims come in or the Welsh. There'll be something about that. They'll give better eyesight. They could run away.
Okay.
So you were saying earlier about what Theresa May was saying about goats.
About goats, about knifing goats or something.
Along those lines, yes.
Yes. So in an article in Sunday Times, Tory backbencher said, "The moment is coming when the night gets heated, stuck in her front and twisted. She'll be dead soon."
It ends tonight.
Sorry? It ends tonight, yeah. I love the pure edge. The PM was also told to bring her own news to meeting. You'd think that if you were a manager in a building I mean, I know it's unlikely for you, Tailed Feature, because you're not management material, but
I wasn't even listening. What?
But if you're a manager in any situation and you're getting to the point where your employees are basically saying, "We hate you so much that we're going to stab you, or you should kill yourself," you should, instead of going, "Don't be so mean to me," you should probably look at and do some self-analysis and work out exactly why you're being told this thing. Don't you think?
Surprised they never mentioned the shit that happened to Thatcher. You know, like the shit she used to get in the House of Commons and stuff like that.
I'm not that familiar with it.
My dad told me apparently they used to like sort of whisper slightly and shit like that whenever she was talking about shit, and it fucked with her head.
What?
And stuff like that. They would say shit that was just barely audible, and it used to fuck with her Thatcher's head, and she never recovered from it.
Grief.
Yeah, that's what my dad said.
Well, I think those were the days also when there was somewhat better invective in the House of Commons. I mean, I don't remember anymore who exactly it was saying it about whom, but I remember there was a reaction once where some, obviously some MP was standing up criticizing some minister or whatever, and the chap just basically got up and said, well, frankly, being criticized by you is like being savaged by a dead sheep. I just got the feeling it was a higher class of insult that they were able to dish out back then.
Very the kind of insult where you wouldn't realize necessarily it was an insult until 2 weeks later, or the kind of erudite insult where you were left in no uncertain terms that you had been disheveled. The the sort of Boris Johnson-esque great supine protoplasmic invertebrate jellies sort of insults, right? That
was brilliant.
I just love the fact that he said that to an entire council. Like they're standing there and he's going, "Come on, tell me what my problem is." They're like, "No, we're moving on." And he's like, "Great supine protoplasmic invertebrate jellies." Yeah. So Yvette Cooper, chairwoman of the Common Home Affairs Committee, given that politicians, as chat says, are being stabby and backbitey is kind of in their job description, said that the unnamed backbencher who made the comments should be publicly named to stop them from doing it again. This is vile and dehumanizing language towards, not the Prime Minister, towards a woman MP. Thanks for gendering the insult. I don't believe that the insult was talking about where he was going to stick the knife in terms of genitalia. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Right? No, but it's not a gendered thing, right? So it's not like he's going to stab her because she's a woman. He's going to stab her because she's a terrible prime minister.
He's going to stab her because it's London.
It's going to just fitting in with the locals, Teresa. Or Sadiq Khan has made this a wondrous, vibrant slum area, and so on and so forth. But there you go. So it's talking about vitriol and saying that no vitriol in this sort of thing. Here's the next article. We're being told that we have to take back IS fighters by the US.
What, and put them in jail?
Presumably. So
that's not so bad.
A senior US military commander has called on us to take back Islamic State fighters who have been caught on the battlefield in Syria. They've been dubbed the IS Beatles. It's like, what were they doing? Playing music? Like, what around there? What,
every zebra crossing they could find, they were running across.
Well, I'm going to bring death to the West, John.
I could be mistaken here. Weren't those chaps involved in some sort of hostage taking, and some of the hostages couldn't necessarily, they wouldn't recognize them or whatever, but they would tell that some of them among them had English accents, and therefore they began referring to them as the Beatles. I think that's where that name comes from.
Ah, that would make
not
sense.
just because there was 4 of them.
Yes, yeah, and they had British accents.
I know that they were associated with Mwazi, Jihadi John. So There's that. So we quite rightly stripped them of their citizenship, but and we're negotiating for them to face trial in the US. I mean, I don't know why we don't just make them face trial there, to be honest. But they disputed the claim that they had been stripped of their British citizenship. I mean, I don't really think that they get a choice in this sort of thing.
I identify as a British citizen.
I identify as a British citizen.
Well,
I always have.
I think it all depends on what other nationality you have.
So
I believe under international law, you're not just allowed to deprive someone of their citizenship. So if they have another citizenship, you can take your citizenship off them and they still have some other citizenship. If they only have the citizenship of your country, I think you're not permitted under international law to just withdraw that, because otherwise you then create a stateless person that then becomes someone else's problem, if you know what I mean.
Sounds good to me.
Serves them right, in my estimation.
Well, no, it's not so much about the individual. It's a matter of the other nations.
They were captured with a goat named Yoko. That's what happened. There you go. It goes full circle. Back to the goats. Fuck the lies. Sorry, I'm just banting you in the chat.
It's fine. It's fine. I just wonder what we should like, because stripping them of citizenship and saying they are effectively of ISIS citizenship now is.
Well, yes, but you can only do that if you recognize the Islamic State territory as a state. So, do you understand what I mean? If you effectively say we accept that they are now of the citizenship of that state, then you accept that state. If you're not willing to accept that state, then you cannot at the same time accept citizenship of that state.
I mean, we accept that they exist. We don't accept that they're legitimate. It's one of those strange. I mean, it's purely political at the end of the day.
I mean, by now, it's much of a muchness anyway, because ISIS, doesn't really hold much territory anymore.
No.
Well, if we want to get rid of the IS Beatles, we just have to release Mark David Chapman again, and he can. No, is that too culturally modern, that joke? Is it? He was the guy that killed Lennon, if you didn't know.
Okay.
As in John Lennon, not the other Lennon.
As long as it's not Keith Lemon.
They let him out. They take him out in the middle of a fucking field and they gave him a gun. We've got a mission for you.
Remember the Beatles? They're back.
And browner than ever. Go get them.
Liberal Zardos makes the point that we can't leave someone stateless, which is why we're stuck with Anjem Chowdhury.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably
basically the only solution to it is stop creating these people. But basically, if you're creating people in your own country of that nature, then it's your problem. It's not the problem of other countries.
How do we feel?
You can't, if they're just out of your country, you can't just remove citizenship from them and then just basically say, oh well, it's now Germany's problem or Russia or whatever.
Well, to be fair, the problem comes from their countries to begin with, so maybe we should send it back to where it fucking came from.
I mean, we do have a certain penalty for treason that just isn't being enacted right now.
Well, there is that. But again, with something like that, it's a tricky one to kind of pin treason on them, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you could just say that joining a foreign terrorist organization is treasonous.
Pretty much. I don't see why that anyone could disagree with that, really.
I mean, the biggest issue is whether or not you would want to bring back the death penalty at all in a proper context, and give the state the ability to execute whoever it considered to be.
I mean, as such, I've never had a problem. I've not got a moral problem with the death penalty. I know some people have got a moral problem, as in, we shouldn't be killing people. I don't have that problem. My problem is simply
you don't want the state doing it.
Well, too many people, it has later turned out were killed by the state in our name, who then turned out not to have been guilty, and this is the problem. I mean, what was it? The Guildford, how many of them was it? Guildford 4. That it was actually the judge who actually told them at the time that he regretted not having the ability to apply the death sentence. And as we then later found out, they had absolutely nothing to do with the crime. So, you know, that's my overriding problem with the death sentence. If we could actually be certain that the people we would be getting rid of would be guilty, well, then that would be a different, you know, that's a different discussion. But as we have seen time and time again, in most, you know, the most of the cases I've heard of the last few people to be hanged here in Britain, there are serious doubts about whether they actually ever were the people who committed the crime.
It's yeah,
and it gets even worse then when you've got the situation of people being accused of having committed terrorist atrocities abroad. Do you understand what I mean? The burden of proof then becomes even more.
Yeah. I mean, we can't just exercise military tribunal, and if you find them out there, off you go to the next wall.
Just like, but fucking, if they are out there, it's just like fucking. Oh, how did I get here? Oh,
yeah.
What am I doing with this bloody machete and holding the 17th? Oh, fucking Jinx Crivens and Hip Marble. Jesus.
Well, I was actually on an archaeology holiday. That's the kind of thing you'll get.
How does a brain in a jar get out to a field?
Well, no, I mean, I just remember, wasn't there some chap they arrested in Afghanistan or whatever who basically claimed he'd been on a holiday in Pakistan and ended up in Afghanistan somehow? I mean,
how the a fucking archaeology holiday? What?
That's the smell.
Well, I think that was just one I pulled out of thin air. But you know, what do you do if that's the defense?
Shoot them for being an idiot.
Go to Magaluf.
Magaluf. Maybe that's why Trump's building the wall, is actually just to stand people against it.
The Scottish built a wall, and we get the Romans to pay for it and build it. It's not that difficult.
Sutsgoen has donated $5. Thank you very much, sir, and says, "Never trust anything with gills. I realise you're some variant of British, but are you really that terrified of the past? We only raided a third of Britain." I have absolutely no idea what context this is in. But
well, I believe it refers to your mushroom comment some days ago.
But I imagine so. But he's only just sent the.
I'm still somewhat confused with "we only raided a third of your country." I mean, the closest thing to that I would assume would be the Vikings, but I don't believe they have gills.
No, although maybe I was talking about. When did I talk about mushrooms?
I think it was on Unpopular Opinions, and you mentioned something about not liking mushrooms.
That is going back some.
It's just a few days ago.
Yes, but I mean, unless they're saying Vikings have gills now, entirely possible. Maybe that was the secret weapon.
Perhaps there's a part of that evolution I'm not aware of.
So to go and says Britisher is correct as always. There you go.
Well, good that at least one person has finally seen it.
If only YouTube and their monetizing algorithm would.
No, I think they're the correct ones.
Oh, you think
Susan Wojcicki, she's, you know, a bastion of honorableness and truth.
I maintain that they can't ascertain the British's correct age, and that's why he's been denied monetization, because they can't verify his identity. He's had so many over the years. Or location, or even that he's not a brain in a jar.
We were going to give you monetization. You were out on an archaeology holiday at the time. Looking for like fucking fragments of pots and shit.
God. But back to ISIS.
Actually, I'll have to try and find that for you. Because, you know, when you were once again speaking of me as an ageless entity, I couldn't help of thinking of myself rather than as a brain in a jar, but as some kind of pharaonic mummy. And it just reminded me that a few days ago I came across a rather funny photograph of Boris Karloff having a break whilst on set of The Mummy.
Oh, amazing.
Drinking tea. Cup whilst wrapped up as the Mummy.
Phenomenal. Yes, you'll have to send that to me.
Did you find anything on your holiday, by the way?
The British have found many things on many holidays.
Well, no, on his archaeology holiday, I mean, it'd be a bit shitty going on archaeology holiday
Well,
and
you
not
see,
finding
I
it.
went to Palmyra on my archaeology holiday, and the next thing I knew, everything was blowing up.
In the good way or the, you know, like, oh, no way. I take it was the latter, you know.
Yeah, we'll leave that to your imagination. Okay.
Nearly cracked the jar.
Nearly cracked the jar. Fortunately, the housing was I'm trying to think of the word, and I'm like, I can't think of the word. I'm ill, and I'm trying to get by. Yeah, so back to the death penalty in ISIS, which is a much more positive topic of conversation about whether or not we should have the death penalty and whether or not we should apply it in this case. Yes, as I think the state error, as I say, is a huge issue, particularly with the time that these cases take, because the burden of proof tends to be much higher in sort of death penalty cases anyway. And there tends to end up being a long queue because they obviously have multiple attempts to appeal, etc. And it can take up to, like, I think the average waiting time in the US states for someone to be executed is like 9.5 years, or something like that. At the same time, you've got to go, what do we do with these people if we do get them back? Because, you know, if you put them in prison for the rest of their life, it's very expensive, you know. It costs 30 grand a year and it's only going to go up. So I guess it just depends on the number of terrorists we have coming back. But I wouldn't give them, like, the whole idea of giving them citizenship after they've renounced everything that a citizen stands for is kind of abhorrent to me. Do you know what I mean?
Just make them join the army, but don't give them any weapons.
All right, lads, on you go.
Operation Human Shield.
Well, you know, I said, well, if you survive, we'll give you your citizenship back.
What's that thing that America does? Like, does America still do that thing where they basically use prisoners for labour?
Yeah.
Like, we don't do that, do we?
No,
we don't.
No, the opposite is true. They get a fucking holiday by the sounds of things.
I like all the suggestions that we're getting in chat. Beheading, black pudding enema.
But what's wrong with it? What's wrong with doing that then? You know what I mean? Like, fucking, it's one thing to like hang the bastards, but like sending them out to do a bit of fucking hard labour, you know, you get a bit of muscle mass, you know. Fucking, if it turns out it's fake, it's like, I
don't think it's particularly hard. I don't think it's hard labour now in America. I think it's more like sewing and stuff.
They're not building any train tracks.
They're not breaking up rocks or anything anymore.
One of the problems with
them make Nikes.
One of the problems with any kind of prisoner labour is that you're effectively interfering into the market. So you're effectively depriving a company of being able to make those products commercially.
Not if you do it in the style of holes.
Producing it with free labour.
Get them to do sweatshop work then.
No, what you should do is you get all the terrorists, you know, that come back and just get them to sew loads of Union Jacks.
There's nothing like
No, I think you would have to be a bit more subtle there. Union Jacks wouldn't really do it. It would be you would have to get a overseas contract and supply the Israeli national flags.
Fuck off, Mega.
or just get them to, you know, just sew loads of pictures of bacon and stuff like that.
Set 4chan on them.
Oh, fuck off. Get them to sit down there and make them look cross-stitched, just tons of fucking posh and Becks.
Sarah says, make them join the chorus line of Oliver. They'd soon stop.
That's a bit random.
Death race. That's what people were. I mean, that's how they make their money back. Or they could just do hard labor in the form of in the nature of holes. So they just dig a hole and then they fill it back in, and they dig a hole and they fill it back in. They're not actually entering the labor market. In fact, they're providing a labor market for spades. But
if it's a matter of musicals, would it have to be Oliver? I think
fill it back in.
A picture show would be much more in their line, wouldn't it?
Isn't that the sort of like shit that the fucking the Nazi concentration camps did, where they would make them like fucking move like a pile of shit over to one area and then make them move it back?
They gave them pointless jobs, yeah. Where they would in the same with the gulags, where they had them mine or break up rocks which didn't need to be broken up and stuff like that. Yeah.
So you want to get them to do that then?
Red Dwarf Justice Boots. That's the kind of thing I like.
It's a fucking great episode.
That is a great episode.
Has a new season started yet? I know they've been making like new seasons all the time now.
I think 12 comes out next year.
God.
I don't really follow the new series. I watch the originals almost religiously at least twice a year.
The latest seasons I actually quite enjoyed. Like, you know, like they brought the laugh track back. It's weird listening to Red Dwarf without the laugh track. I know laugh tracks are bad, but it just feels weird after you're so conditioned to it.
Well, they do the new ones in front of a live studio audience like the old days.
Yeah,
good.
Some of the older episodes. There's, I think, on one of the series on Netflix, they couldn't get hold of the track with the episode with the laugh track for the one where they get stuck in the vents, and it's the weirdest episode because there are all these awkward pauses where the laughter should be, or and just where you expect there to be laughs and there's not. It's just a really, really stilted, awkward episode without it. And I go, I never thought I'd want a laugh track back.
Yeah, it's the same with the Back to Earth. It was meant to be the Red Dwarf film, but they made it into 3 separate episodes.
It's just so weird. Whenever Rimmer makes one of these snarky lines and then there's just silence after it, and it's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, like you want to laugh, but nobody else is laughing, and you're like, you feel weird. It just feels weird.
Someone in the chat says that there's no regulars on, and he's a bit triggered.
Who are your regulars? I thought Britisher was a regular.
British is the only regular. I mean, I don't I don't recognise anybody right now. Where are the regulars? I mean,
and then he just says that this place is literally full of randomers right now.
And didn't you see
just be that someone is getting confused between this and unpopular opinion?
Quite possibly.
Didn't you say Tailed fucking pops on fairly often?
Fairly often. You've been on 3 or 4, haven't you, mate?
Yeah.
You're talking shite, chat. Get it round you.
That's what it is. Very strange.
Unless he's talking about the chat. Maybe there's no regulars in the chat.
Oh, maybe. I try and get different people on every week, so it's generally speaking. So, in fact, there's this one guy who I'm currently at university with, who is from South Africa, and he's got some really interesting insights. And I'm just trying to tease him onto coming on to one, but he's so far resisting.
It's not Carlos, is it?
It's not Carlos. No.
Sorry, before I forget, Mega Saber says we could use the prisoners to help with dangerous explorations or space and/or underwater.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Let's use them for like testing.
Fire them into space.
Let's keep fucking let's start shoving like tons of random chemicals in them and shit like that. Let's get the first like supervillain.
Calling Dr. Mengele. Calling Dr. Mengele.
I think, gents, you've just found the ideal solution. I mean, people don't like the idea of makeup being tested on animals.
Is that a final solution?
All these. The final solution is lipstick in a shade you don't want to wear.
So you'd have all these ex-terrorists, sort of loafing about a prison with rouge and eye makeup and whatever. I think that would be very fetch.
It would be great for the prison. It would be great for the prison. I'm pretty sure like fucking a few people would want to have their prison wives wearing some makeup and shit like
prison
that.
wives.
Yeah, fucking they'd be good there. Like, instead of the jumpsuit, they tart it up a wee bit. They've got the rouge on. Get lipstick on, fucking bit of blush.
Of course, the terrorists would use it on the goats as well.
Back to the goats. I'm glad somebody else did it. I saw a comment where somebody was like mentioned like horns and shit like that, and it was satanic. And I'm like, horns, goats have horns, fucking dodgy. Your fault. You brought up the goats.
I think you have to retitle this stream just.
Goats. Yeah, I will be adding goats to the title of the stream. Have no fear.
Fake goats unite.
Or just refer to it as Scottish Goat Man Visits.
Hey,
The
I'm
goat
not
man of Greenock.
I'm not the one that brought up goats. It was obvious that brought up the goats. He wanted me to rant about goats, and I
challenged you. I challenged you to rant about goats.
Let it be fucking said that when Nuckalevee is challenged to rant about goats, he fucking delivers. He brings the goats.
Trust me, I will never challenge you to talk about domestic or wild goats ever again.
Somebody in the chat asked, "Where's the fucking quiz?"
Actually, Mr. Obvious or not so obvious or whatever, if you look to our in-stream chat on the side, you will see a link to Boris Karloff.
Oh, I will go into the stream chat. There we go.
Because of course he was British, so therefore the poor man had a liking for tea. It doesn't just end there. I can give you more.
It's just the look on his face, and he's just like very prim, very proper. I've got to have the tea.
And here's the next one.
So dainty with his.
Yeah, he's very dainty in the way he holds that cup. But that's by far not the best. The best is the next one here.
Okay.
This is Boris Karloff having breakfast.
It's amazing how long it takes to put the makeup on and the art and so on and so forth.
There is something somewhat less scary about a monster once he's actually holding a china cup and eating toast.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Never got to start our day, British. Need them in a break. You can
Even
people strangle.
You don't know what he's had on that toast. It could be monstrous, you know.
Of course, yes.
It could be
Fucking
Marmite.
Hey!
Predictable.
So basically, gentlemen, what would be worse? Whether it would be the congealed blood of victims or it would be Marmite?
You mean haggis?
I'd take the blood.
Fucking right. Get some black pudding enema on the go.
I've never had haggis before.
You've
Get
never
out.
what?
Get out.
I've never had haggis. I've never had black pudding either.
Kick him out. Kick him out the stream now.
This is turning into confessions.
All right, gonna have to eject. I'm sorry, Nucker, but you're no true Scotsman.
Well, I've never had deep fried Mars bar, so.
I know, but that's somewhat.
Neither of us.
Yes, I think we can rename this stream now. It's no longer about goats. It's now Scottish Confessions.
Scottish Confessions.
Scottish confections.
Featuring goats.
I've had a deep fried pizza though. They're fucking delicious. Fuck. Why would you...
Pizza
Everyone
crunch?
would have to ask: Has either of them ever had deep fried goat?
No, that sounds too highbrow.
I've never had a kebab either.
No, I've never had a kebab.
You've never had a kebab?
No.
Every time I go into the Indian and I see that big fucking turning meat hang, I always wonder what it tastes like, and then I order a fucking a lambuna.
Oh dear, you're wasted here. You should be on Unpopular Opinions talking about how you don't eat kebabs and so. The only thing that should be deep fried. I'm not finishing that comment that's going, but thank you for that one.
That could have been a lot worse, though. Actually,
it could have been a lot worse. It's Confessions of a Scottish Goat Lover. I think that's the proper name for this stream.
Well, wait a second. All right. Firstly, I wasn't the one that brought up goats in the first place, and two, I went on about how goats are fucking evil. Fucking like Tails. Fucking Tailed points out. Fucking, they've got weird hypno-toad eyes.
Hypno-toad eyes. I'd love if they made the same noise as well.
It'd be easier to sneak up on them if they did.
Can you imagine if, like, you had a herd of them there, like all of them going?
You always make a film, of the killer goats. I mean, didn't they do a film? I think an Aussie film was made, wasn't there, about the killer sheep?
There was a New Zealand film called Black Sheep.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Oh, it's awful.
It's funny.
It's awful. It's just a scene where he goes into the shed where I think it's his brother is or whatever it is, and he's turning into like a half sheep thing.
Yeah,
and he's like, they're going to. they're going to eat you. And he looks at him and he holds up his hand and it's like a sheep's hoof. It's like, I don't think they will.
It's hilarious.
Well, he kind of turns into a weir sheep, doesn't he?
A were-sheep, yes.
But to be fair, like fucking a were-goat is basically like the devil.
Yeah, or a what was the name? Greek mythology, like Pan.
Wouldn't like a were-sheep be just like the devil but more poofy?
Well, it's Baphomet or something like that.
I fucking like the black goat with 1,000 young and all that push.
The thing is, like my nan kept sheep and goats and cows and so on and so forth on her farm, and so if you've ever seen like sheep eating, that Black Sheep film becomes even more disturbing because you understand how horrific it would be to be eaten by such a thing.
Mega Saber says, "Why do the Welsh wear overalls? Because sheep can hear zippers."
Well, that's
Get fucked, Aidan Paladin.
I was going to say, usually people say that about Scottish people. You know, why do Scots wear kilts? Because the sheep can hear the zip. Yeah, so it's the same sort of idea.
Speaking of shit horror films, though, did you ever see the one with a tyre?
The tyre?
Yeah, it's literally about a sentient tyre that goes about murdering people.
No, I can't say I've ever seen a horror film that contains a sentient tyre.
It's psychic power. It's psychic powers, and basically it goes about the place and it blows people's heads up. I think it falls in love with a woman or whatever, and then when it rejects him, it blows her head up as well. It's a psychic tyre. Rubber. It's called Rubber. That's
Rubber.
right.
I'm gonna have to look this up without.
What's this called? Rubber Revenge or what?
No, it's just called Rubber.
Vulcanized vengeance.
I love the images of the.
Actually, man, read the Quran.
A 2010 French independent horror film about a tyre that comes to life and kills people with psychic powers. It received positive reviews from critics.
Yeah, it's actually. I hear it's actually quite good.
Oh my god.
Like, people in the chat can't tell the difference between me and Nuka.
Oh, bless him.
I'm offended.
A tyre named Robert. It's got a name, and it's just like comes to life, learns how to stand upright and how to roll, crushes a plastic water bottle, and crushes a scorpion, and therefore has a taste for blood. Finally comes across a glass beer bottle, but cannot crush it by rolling over it. Robert discovers he can psychokinetically cause the bottle to fracture, testing his newfound powers on a tin can and a rabbit, and makes them explode. It's just like, what?
I'm just watching some of the trailer. It's just having a showdown with a police car.
So yeah, I'm cultured.
I would put the trailer on, but after my experience with YouTube and
That's
copyright,
why I didn't send you the link.
Indeed, if anyone doesn't know, on Unpopular Opinions, I got the entire stream globally banned for showing a 1-minute clip of South Park midway through the stream.
Oh, don't fucking show South Park, Jesus! You can't even watch the videos on their site. Cartman appears in a fucking.
A woman has just
outfit
pulled
with
back
a
the
fucking
shower
tip.
curtain, and under the shower there was the rubber tire.
You have to watch this. Like, the only thing that I can think of, like, that's been a good but terrible B movie recently that I watched was Splinter. Have you seen Splinter?
No.
Which is like
Is that the one where it's like an infection and it manifests as just like tons of bits of wood sticking out of people? It's a body horror film.
yeah, kind of, and then it gets into like animals and stuff. And then, but it twists them all up, and then they go to they end up hiding out in a what do you call it, like a fuel station. It was quite good, but there's this really hilarious scene about halfway through where they have to cut a guy's arm off, and they get halfway through his arm, and they realize that the saw isn't going to go through the bone, and they have to snap it off. It's absolutely horrendous, but like the acting's terrible, so it's great.
I actually know about that because I went on Wikipedia and I was looking up every single film that was classified as body horror for the past like 30 years.
I went through a bit of a phase with body horror films. Like,
Did you watch Society?
No, I haven't.
Or watch Society?
But
Society's fucking amazing.
Because I started off with like the classics, like The Thing and The Fly and stuff like that, and they're really good. So, but I look at some of the newer stuff and I just go, it's gonna have
the same shit. It's the same shit. Society, man. Like, there's a man whose face is his anus.
His face is his anus.
Look, fuck it. Go to Google Images and type in Society.
I am not going to Google a man's face being his anus.
just type Society film and look at Google. Do it now.
Just don't screen share. You'll be fine.
We're screen sharing for the bants.
It's amazing. Society's got fucking brilliant body horror thing. Like, one of the scenes, like, the show is like fucking. There's like the main character is looking at a woman in the shower, and you can clearly see her tits are on her, like, basically back, like her body's all this wrong sort of way. There's the top right. Look at the anus.
Yeah, I've got it. So, I think I've heard of this film. Yeah, very strange, like about rich people, aliens, and like some sort of perverted orgy.
Yeah.
Very strange. Obviously, the Britisher is completely turned off at this point. He's switched off.
I'm fast losing the will to live. Yeah.
Come on, British, don't have your head in your ass.
Oh god, you caused this Britisher with your pictures of Karloff. So
of course,
it's
yes.
entirely your fault.
Yes,
By the way, challenge for people in the chat. Challenge for people in the chat. I would like somebody to send me a picture of that.
The link between Boris Karloff and face anus is actually that obvious. I should have seen it coming.
You should have seen.
Somebody send me a picture of that face anus thing with the Britisher's hat edited on top of the Send it to me at my Twitter at Nuckalevee, and you will win nothing.
I love that this guy self-engineer in chat has just said, "I've only just clicked on this stream, and this is what I see." It's just like, dude, come on now.
Mate, sometimes life just gives you head anus. Fucking, that's it.
When life gives you head anus, it's like what?
Anodin. I don't know.
Oh dear, let's just. I think that's enough of that. Society involves people taking from their ass. It's art. I have no idea.
Talking from their ass.
Talking from their ass, yeah. The God. I was going to talk about the People's March that happened on Saturday.
No one cares. Let's talk about more face anus stuff.
I'm down with him. I like my face anus shit. Let's talk about more obscure fucking B-movie body horror shit. Man, I miss practical effects. Practical effects are great. Have you seen The Void? Everybody talks about how great The Void does. I've seen screenshots and it looks amazing.
No, I haven't seen The Void.
That's a recent film that's got a lot of praise for using like proper practical effects and shit like that. Kind of very, very like The Thing and stuff like that. Definitely a watch if you like that sort of stuff.
Like Hellraiser and all that.
Did Hellraiser have a lot of good? Oh well, to be fair, there was like the hooks through like the face and shit like that and whatnot. That was good.
Aye, but there was Uncle Frank who basically regenerates from a puddle of blood in the mattress, and he gets all his layers back sort of over time.
And they do the exact same thing in the next film with a woman.
Yep.
Fucking shit.
And then they go into space. Like Hellraiser 6 in space or some shit like that.
Oh god, I fucking I can't remember who it was I was listening to, but I just watched every fucking review. It might have been that guy Decker Shadow. Like I basically found him randomly once when I was looking up like the Hellraiser movies, and he basically comes across like perfectly like one of those that guy with the glasses sort of people, and fucking it just consistently puts out all these reviews of like horror films and stuff like that in a good time, and you know he's got that same old like sort of sketch. Like it kind of sounds like the nostalgia critic and stuff like that, but fucking like they're good wee fucking reviews and shit like that. And he does everything like just for Halloween. There, he's done every single fucking Halloween movie.
I think I know the guy you mean actually. Yeah,
he's got long brown hair and like goatee and stuff like that. Fucking, I've never heard of him before, but then I ended up watching all his stuff, and he does fucking every fucking horror film. It's great.
Yeah.
Definitely give him a look if you like that sort of stuff. If you like horror films, Decker Shadow, check him out.
Speaking of horror, shall we talk about the People's March?
Yes, I think so.
Or the English boys would talk about their politics.
Oh, you know it. Just because this is a more serious channel than your usual lot, Nucker.
I am incredibly serious 100% of the time.
Obviously, especially when you're talking about goats. Yeah. The People's March is a strange one. Like, as my weekly news roundup summarized, it's more of a they claimed it was 600,000 to 700,000 people turning out. I strongly doubt that that's anywhere near the actual number. This is one of those things where, like, do you remember the Trump baby march, like the baby balloon march?
Yeah.
Where, like, Owen Jones was saying there were like 250,000 people there, and it was closer to 25,000.
Everybody bigs up their numbers when it's good for them and reduces the numbers of the people they don't like. We've seen it.
The favorite thing that they like to hear is, the police cannot estimate the size of the crowd. So it's like, oh, how many people are there? How many people do you want? I think they basically just went off how many people said that they would turn up.
What's happening with the Sadiq Khan blimp?
The Sadiq Khan blimp was up for like a day. I remember it going up, and I was just not interested because it's a bit infantile, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I don't actually know how that went or how many people were there.
It was a good use of thousands of pounds, wasn't it?
Well, it made more money than the Trump balloon, didn't it?
It made more money. It cost less, and they ended up putting the excess funds towards like some charity for free speech or something, or forming a foundation to do stuff with it. So it actually did end up having a positive outcome generally in terms of where the money was actually going. But yeah, at the same time, they couldn't sell the balloon like the Trump people did for loads of money to a museum. That's one of the things. I think they made like 4 times what they spent on it, and they spent a stupid amount of money on it.
It's cultural history. Orange man bad.
NPC.
He's gonna kill all the gay black trans persons. Suck my dick.
As chat says, they detest the term "people's vote." Yeah, it's not a people's vote at all. The people's vote happened, and now it's sort of a Remainers vote. Is what they want.
NPC vote.
The NPC vote. But I don't think that even if they got their referendum, that it would go their way.
No, I think it'd probably leave more.
Yeah, even if it was just a few more, like a couple more percent, I could see it going 55-45.
Those numbers trigger me.
But yeah, I know they do. That's exactly why I use them. Was it you and Dan? You're still in favour of an independent Scotland on principle?
In principle, yeah.
Yeah, regardless of. I was like, how's your economy going to work out, Feature? How's your economy
in principle.
I voted for independence, but fucking nowadays I don't give a fuck. Scotland's a fucking joke.
I think your independence will work really well if you hold on to the nukes and sell them back to us.
Yeah, well, that could work. We could use that as a bargaining chip. Let us go. We've got the nukes.
You know that they've kind of cucked you though, because they know that you don't know how to put nukes together, and so you have all the component parts to make nukes, but no idea how to build them. Because that's how the British get around the nuclear whatever it's called, deproliferation thing. Is when we want new nukes, we don't build new nukes. We just build everything that we need to put them together in like 10 minutes. And then we put them in a factory or several locations in Scotland. And so it's just like all these components for nukes, but not actual nukes, because the only actual nukes aren't in the UK, they're on submarine.
I wouldn't be too bothered if another country nuked faster than where the nukes are, because there's a big communist commune outside.
Really?
Yeah. There's a big shanty town filled with Antifa and all that kind of, all the hippies.
Basically trying to protest nuclear arms in general, you reckon?
Yeah, by standing outside in a field getting wet for 3 years or whatever it is.
You'd think that, like, because nowadays, because it's a form of protest, right? And
sorry, the Harry channel, the Scots would try to caber toss the missiles. I'd love that. I'd be down for that. Can you just imagine some random big burly ginger cunt running towards you, holding a mini nuclear missile?
Wanting to nut you into oblivion.
Just strap it to your head and just nut some cunt.
The way I always describe the caber tossing, you know, like you get a big giant bit of wood and you fuck the earth with your giant wooden cock. That's the point of the caber toss.
I did a song about that.
Didn't I see you had some channel art that was along those lines on your birthday stream?
That's right. Deep fried nuke.
I did wonder what on earth that was about, but there you go.
I did a song called the Cabercock song, so there you go.
So it's good. So it's going. Pretty sure there's been a movie with a nuke tossing Scotsman.
If not, he'd be the change you wish to see in the world.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing a missile. Scotland launches its first missile and it just deep fries everything in the fucking area that it hits in the blast zone. Everything's just fucking immediately delicious. Get fucking in there.
They couldn't afford napalm, but they could afford copious amounts of cooking oil. Oh dear.
We don't have any Agent Orange, we've got Agent Bucky.
No, your Agent Orange is a person. That's what it is.
Agent Orange is a person, or is Iron Brew. What are they?
Iron Brew's shit now.
Aye.
What were we even talking about?
The People's Vote, People's March.
The People's Vote, People's March. Numbers of people turning up.
Then we got the balloons, the fucking Canny said the Sadiq Khan one, Trump one about for a good bit.
Like
independence. Then we talked about nukes.
Scottish independence, yeah.
That's what happens when you invite two Scots on. That's bound to come up.
It always comes back to Scottish independence.
Yep.
I can't remember because and you were saying Dankula's in favour of it as well, isn't he?
Again, I fucking Dankula was saying during his talk and shit like that. Fucking, I'm down for. I'd be okay with Scottish independence. No with the SNP. Sturgeon is a fucking rocket.
Yeah, that's what we all say pretty much.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Anyone but her. Anyone but her. Anyone but her. Because I remember that, I have a couple of mates who are Scottish, but who had to move down south for work, and they were really pissed off because they weren't resident in Scotland at the time, they weren't allowed to vote on Scottish independence, and they were like, "But we're Scottish citizens who basically just had to move for the sake of income. It's not our fault. Why can't we vote on our country, given that we were born there? You know."
Because they're part of the UK and there's no such thing as Scottish citizenship.
It's true. No.
British, wake up. Join the conversation.
Hello there.
Tell us how you want to recolonize Scotland and crush the rebellious Scots.
Well, I mean, we just have to create another Duke of Cumberland, don't we? And then the rest is just going to take care of itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we did it last time.
Yeah, federal UK win.
Federal.
England needs its own parliament. That's what it needs.
Yeah,
for England.
Devolution for England.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd rather just rule everything. Why can't? The only place that really needs its own parliament is Antarctica, and the British can take care of everything else.
And Sealand.
And Sealand.
Yeah. Is
Sealand a place?
Oh, come on.
That's a little gun platform off Sussex or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it what?
Oh, do you want to explain?
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Well, it was some time ago, two chaps who later fell out with each other basically managed to seize an old abandoned gun platform off the British coast.
Okay.
And they basically declared it an independent state, having effectively basically saying that the British had effectively given up on it, so it had been abandoned.
Okay.
So they were now claiming it for themselves and were claiming it as an independent state. Now, as I say, eventually they fell out with each other. I think one of them took it over on his own, and the other guy with some mates arrived and conquered it off him.
Conquered it.
Yes, I mean they're literally, you know, they literally have been fighting over it.
That's be phenomenal.
And
what a larp.
the eventual winner, I think he has since died, and it's now the second generation. So it's now his
Oh,
children who are effectively the prince and princesses of the Principality of Sealand.
How do they support themselves, given it's a gun platform?
Well, I mean, as I say, they technically they've come up with everything, because at first, basically, people just sort of dismissed it and said, look, you can't be a country. In order to be a country, you have to have certain things. And therefore, they came up with everything. They've got a constitution.
National anthem.
They've got a national anthem. They've got a body of law. They've got a flag. They've got currency. Yes, they've got the lot. And of course, the eventual aim is that if you manage to get it accepted as some sort of territory, you know, even if it's not an entirely independent state, if it gets accepted as some sort of territory, they would then be in charge of their own tax affairs.
Yes.
And that's when it could then become very lucrative on the international playing field.
They have a website.
Oh yes, yeah.
I'm just going to
I just put the Wikipedia page in the side chat.
I'm just going to present this to everyone. This is sealandgov.org, because I presume that they can't have sealand.gov at the moment.
What is the population number of Sealand?
I have absolutely no idea. About.
And wouldn't the prince and princesses be like? Wouldn't there be like a king and a queen by now if the guy died? Isn't that how it works?
No. They are princes in the sense of being the head of a principality. So if you've got like Monte Carlo, Monaco is a principality. So the head of a principality is a prince. So it's not a king. So if you ascend to the highest position in a principality, you become the prince.
Oh, that's odd.
In 1978, the man who describes himself as the Prime Minister of Sealand hired German and Dutch mercenaries to attack Sealand, whilst the previous owner was in England. And they stormed the platform with speedboats, jet skis, and
this is all very
helicopters.
James Bond, yes.
And they took his son hostage. They were able to retake Sealand and capture Achenbach and the mercenaries using weapons they had stashed on the platform. That's amazing. They have their own passports. And he was charged with treason against Sealand, and was held unless he paid 23 grand. The United Kingdom disavowed his imprisonment.
How much fucking did it cost for the speedboats, jet skis, and helicopters and shit like that?
It's just rich people having an absolute, sort of mare with this sort of thing.
I wish there was a big giant like fucking artificial island or something like that where fucking rich people got together and just did crazy shit. Don't you sometimes wish that the world was fucked enough where rich people could do absolutely degenerate shit in certain places, and we were all okay with it, and we could watch it. I want real life fucking PUBG. Why not? Why not? The winner gets a fuck ton of money. Why not? Come on. Let's have death games. Overpopulation's already a problem. Why not? If they sign a waiver, why not?
It wouldn't surprise me if we ended up going that way eventually, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Why not?
Just on the principle of the thing, that just murdering real people,
It's better than fucking Britain's Got Talent and The Voice and fucking shit like that. What do I watch?
You'd rather watch people be killed than want to kill yourself from watching Britain's Got Talent.
If they signed up for it voluntarily, people can sign up for it. Somebody's going to win it.
You're talking about the libertarian paradise right there. You know,
I would love to watch like fucking Simon Cowell or whatever like, monitoring this guy. Like fucking this fucking twat turns up. Fucking
Alan Shooter comes out with a nuke and goes, "You're fired."
It turns up with a katana. Oh, I've got my sword. I've been studying the blade. I reckon I could take them.
Oh god. The only trouble is, of course, is that the people who would commentate over such a thing are current days esports commentators, and so it just ends up just being people who don't know what they're talking about, talking over something which they can't follow.
Like, let's face facts. There's a lot of people out there that fucking, it'd be fun. Come on, we all know.
They'd be better just taking Britain's Got Talent, and whoever gets voted off, just has to face the firing squad.
Like, what was it? The like Black Mirror did an episode, something like that, where it was just like if you got selected for the talent show, you would have riches and space beyond your imagination, and if not, you basically went to die. I can't remember. But, yeah.
Someone in the chat said, "Try Sealand's Got Talent."
So these two contestants
got a population of about 6 people.
That's being very conservative.
Jonathan Railton says, "Real life PUBG. That's what we do with ISIS fighters."
Oh, there we go.
Why not?
Or we were thinking more like Death Race with like the Jason Statham film. Where it's more entertaining, and at the end they don't really come for you.
Do a bunch of fucking crazy shit. Like, again, why not? Overpopulation's a problem. If people sign the waiver and they're down for risking their life to get some money, why the fuck not?
Liberal Zardo says, "I would support the death penalty for Z-list celebs who refuse to fade into obscurity with dignity, and you can televise it.
It's better to burn out than to fade away."
Is that what's going to happen to Sargon eventually when he finally becomes irrelevant? You're going to have to end up going on to PUBG as his boomer self.
It's fine. He has studied the blade.
He's fucking sitting there polishing his bronze sword.
Yep, right there. And that's not a euphemism.
The gladius is right there.
How the hell did we get on this?
I don't think it matters. Anyway,
Fine.
Sadly, my throat is going because I'm still not totally better yet. So I'm going to call it to an end there. Bring us to a close. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much to the chat. Thank you for coming on, Britisher, as always.
Toodle pip.
Good evening. Thank you for coming on, Tail Feature.
Thank you for that.
And thank you very much, Nuckalevee.
Yeah, no bother. Don't forget to sign up. I'm going to start a GoFundMe for the Nucka games. It's happening, folks. It's happening.
And on that note, good night.